point, I'm gonna go live.
Gotcha.
Because I do that on Facebook.
Okay.
So that people see
Cool.
what I'm doing.
All right. I'm probably gonna just do my thing and
Just do
be
your
in my
thing.
zone.
Don't even worry about me.
Cool.
Don't even worry about me. Good evening. Welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review. I'm so happy to be with you tonight. I love bringing music to you people. It makes me happy. So here's a neat little story. This young man kind of reached out to me on Facebook, and I never heard of him, never saw him play, whatever. So his name kept popping up with really good musicians in the area. We're talking people like Ann Castellano, Hugh Birdsall. We're talking people that know their music. And so unbeknownst to his music, I don't know anything about his music. I know nothing about him except he seems like a really nice guy and he likes Jabez, which is very important, right? But he plays with all the people that have either been on this show or that I know because they're amazing musicians. And if they're good, they don't play with bad musicians. So he's got to be good, right? Right. So please welcome into your home, into your heart, and into your musical knowledge, our new friend, Rob Nelson.
Thank you, Dot. If we stop all the yelling, maybe we don't have to wake the baby. If we really want to get our problems solved, slow it to a crawl. Oh yeah, slow it to a crawl. I know we go like a house on fire. Then we get so awful tired. Ooh. But if we never wanna have that police call, we got to slow it to a crawl. Oh, yeah. I said, slow it to a crawl. I know. Do, 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 do. It's really bad, the take and giving, yeah. At this fast pace at which we're living, ooh, if we're gonna try and stand up straight and tall, we got got to slow it to a crawl. Oh, yeah. I said, slow it to a crawl. I know, slow it to a crawl. I said, yes, I said. Thank you, Dot. Thanks, Jabez. And Dot was right, I do like you. So the next song I'm going to do is the newest song in my set. I wrote this, I think, around Thanksgiving or so. It's like a week old.
Nice.
And this is it. This is the world debut of this song. This is called Mesmerizing. Here among the trees I take my rest. Yes, a bird with battered wings without a nest. In the fall, all the apples leave the tree and hit the ground. There's a call carried on the whispered breeze, a secret sound, and it's mesmerizing, mesmerizing, and it's mesmerizing when it comes. Here between the morning and the night, I gather up my things and take my flight. When I fly high above the sleeping people that I love in the sky, I can see the crossword pattern from above, and it's mesmerizing, mesmerizing, and it's mesmerizing when it comes. These days are crowded with so many sights and sounds around me. Sometimes I close my eyes, let the silent night surround me. Here beneath the trees, my bones will lie. Whenever comes the day for me to die, when I'm gone, close your eyes and listen softly if you please. There's a song carried on the whispered autumn in the breeze, and it's mesmerizing, mesmerizing, and it's mesmerizing when it comes, when it comes. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. All right. It's nice to play a new song. Brand new like that. This one's a little bit older. The next one I'm going to do. And it's a little bit of a story song. It's a little sad. A lot of my songs are a little sad. This one is called Softly to the Ground. So September arrived, and Cynthia was restless. She was more than alive. She was a boat on the stream. Cynthia believed in savoir-faire. She could read the signals in the air, but then the temperature changed Yeah, she was a holiday snowflake. Yeah, she fell softly to the ground. But December was cold, and Cynthia was lonely. She was bright but not bold. She didn't like to make scenes. Cynthia was working in a bar. She could find your future in the stars. But then the calendar changed. Yeah, she was a leaf in the autumn. Yeah, she fell softly to the ground. March ran out like a prayer, and Cynthia had vanished. Her apartment was bare. She left a couch on the street. Cynthia had folks in Baton Rouge. She knew that the time had come to move, and so she climbed up the stairs. Yeah, she was a bird on a building. Yeah, she fell softly to the ground. Softly to the ground. She fell softly to the ground. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks so much. So one of the Dot sort of alluded to the idea that I play with lots of different people when I can. It's really nice to collaborate. There's so much talent in Connecticut. One of the groups I belong to is a duo called Pigeon English, and we put out an album we put out 2 albums last year, and this is a song that I wrote for that project called Little Alibis. What you gonna do when you're all alone? Staring at the floor and the telephone. You had a little sweetheart, won't come home. You feel it underneath and inside your bones. And all those little alibis flew away like a paper kite in the wind. And all those pretty little lies that you tell yourself at night in the long, lonesome night. What you gonna do when you're out of words? Your feelings flew away like September birds. It's there beneath the ground where the truth's interred. It's there in every single song you've heard. And all those little alibis flew away like a paper kite in the wind. And all those pretty little lies that you tell yourself at night in the long, lonesome night. Alibis. And all those little alibis flew away like paper kite in the wind. And all those pretty little lies flew away like a paper kite in the wind, and all those pretty little lies that you tell yourself at night in the long, lonesome night.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you. Thanks. So, am I allowed to talk about my albums?
You can talk about
All
anything
right.
you want to
So,
talk about.
all right. So this year was a busy year. You know, February came and gigging stopped for a lot of us who play music in Connecticut. And so I decided to just go nuts and write songs at home and record them and release them. And that's, like Dot said, I've been collaborating with people through technology, right? Sharing files, not actually even being in the same room. So I managed to release 3 albums this year. I'm really happy about that. And the most recent album I released this fall was called Joy and Pain 2020. I think the title is self-explanatory, right? We all had joy and pain in 2020. And this is the title song from that album, Joy and Pain. You trashed my souvenir. I trashed your car. I love you madly, dear, but you go too far. We take ourselves insane, punished by pleasure. We take our joy and pain in equal measure, yeah. I threw your poetry down a wishing well. You stole $10 from me, told me go to hell. I tread so carefully, but somehow I fell. We drive ourselves insane, punished by pleasure. We take our joy and pain in equal measure. That night in Kent, you slapped me right across the face. You said get bent, and we both fell about the place, yeah. La, ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Ba, 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 la, da, da, da. Hey, hey. We drive ourselves insane, punished by pleasure. We take our joy and pain in equal measure, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, that's a song about, people and other people and relationships. And, we do depend upon one another. I think that's been made very clear, right, by lockdown. We all depend on one another. This is a song, perhaps interestingly, part of this song I wrote many, many, many years ago, and it just sat there. And I couldn't for the life of me come up with a chorus. For years and years I tried, and then many, many years later I went back and I came up with the chorus. And so this one goes back quite a ways. This is called Even in the Night. Bye, bye, calendar sky. I believe we're done. So I'll go off in a glow, follow the evening sun, take down the clock off the wall, 'cause time won't tell you how to keep the night from its fall. Even in the night, I can can see sentimental lights across the sea. Even when the pain inside still burns, just remember that the world you're standing on still turns. Oh yeah, yeah. I cried after she died, wishing she could stay. Now I stand out on the strand, watching the end of the day. Take down the cards that she sent, 'cause you'll never know just exactly what she meant. Even in the night, I can see sentimental lights across the sea. Even when the pain inside still burns, just remember that the world you're standing on still turns. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. Bye, bye, calendar sky. I believe we're done. Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, enough with the sad stuff. I do have some upbeat numbers. I mentioned I put out 3 albums this year. The first one I put out was in the springtime. I love 60s music. I love the Beatles. I love the Zombies. I love the Beach Boys. And once in a while, that inspiration really kicks in. I put out an album called Apple, Green, and Peach in May of this year. And this was the lead-off single to that album. This is called Take a Minute. Halfway through July, I began to wonder why. Where was all my summer sunshine? Where was my blue sky? In an empty room, I can still taste your perfume. Anybody else would say, I'm wishing on the moon. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute to think about it. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Think about it. Halfway up the stairs, and I wish that you were there. Take a minute, think about the way we used to care. Autumn came our way, and the wind took you away. Take a minute, think about just coming back my way. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Think about it. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Think about it. Why don't you think about the days when I was there? Why don't you think about the way we used to care? Autumn came our way, and the wind took you away. Take a minute, think about just coming back my way. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Take a minute to think about it. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Ooh, take a minute. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it now.
Rob, you want to do one more song and then come talk to me?
Yeah, that
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm going to do my ukulele song. Excellent. Just a quick swig here. For those of you watching at home, this is, we can't probably do endorsements, right?
No, we can't.
So I got that tea from an unnamed place. Don't worry about it. This is a song, very quickly. I wrote this. I went away in August with my family to an island, and my daughters are both musicians. My wife is a poet. We went away and we were like, let's just not write anything or play anything. And we went away for a week, and all we did was write songs and poems, which is kind of funny. This one I wrote on that island, and this is called Let It Happen. Paradise hasn't felt so near to me since I've been on my own. Your favorite chair, the books you never got to read piled high beside the phone. We never talked about a time after one of us had gone. All that's left to do is compromise. All that I can do is let it happen. Recompense hasn't come so easy now. The banks have all been closed. Your statuettes, the cards you saved from Uncle Lee, stacked high beside his clothes. We never talked about a time after one of us had gone. All that I can do is recognize. All that I can do is let it happen now. Thank you very much.
So while Rob is getting over here and getting mic'd up, let me tell you about some wonderful things that are going on. Yes, listen, the Drunken Palette is on State Street, and they are doing a fundraiser for the Guard Arts Center, and they're doing Christmas ornaments, so you can go there and check out what they're doing. Also, the Hygienic Art Gallery has finally gotten in the 54 playing card. Every single one is a different piece of art from a different artist, local art. So get down there and support your local art gallery, support local artists, support local venues, support local economy. We're going to talk to Rob. Hi.
How are you?
Welcome to the Attic.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you here. You have worked with some of the most amazing musicians in the area.
I've been very lucky.
Well, I would say that we're all lucky to have the caliber of musicians that we have in Connecticut.
Something funny in the water here.
I don't think it's funny. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. So let's talk about some of the things that go on with you. First of all, when did you actually start playing music?
Long time ago. I was a teenager. And pretty much from the beginning of playing instruments, I wanted to songwrite.
Okay.
You know, I didn't really want to, I wasn't that interested in learning other people's songs, although that's something everybody does. Mm-hmm. But I think that the urge to write my own songs goes back to like age 14 or so.
Okay.
Something like that. And I started, by the time I was 16, I was like gigging in original bands. And I played in New York City when I was 16. That was a big deal to go from wanting to do it to like, you know, being that young and gigging and everything. So it's been a lifelong, you know, a long time.
So you actually were writing your own music at like 14 years
Yeah,
old?
yeah. Not good, but I was doing it. You know, there was room for improvement.
Who's the judge of what's good and
True,
what's bad,
true.
you know?
Good point.
I think that anybody that sits down and actually tries to put their thoughts to music is good in my book. I can't do it.
I hear you. Yeah, yeah.
What is your songwriting process? Do you get the words first? Do you get the music first?
That's a good question.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm the interviewer
That's it.
and you're the musician.
I can see you've done this before.
I have.
I would say that in the last, let's say the last 10 years or so, it's become, you know, if you had asked me that question when I was younger, it would have been a number of different answers. But at this point, I usually start with a melody.
Okay.
And because I'm a poet also. And so when I was in my 20s, it was kind of a tough, I was like, do I just focus on writing poetry and publishing and trying to make a life doing that? Or do I songwrite? And then I realized they don't go against each other. Mm-hmm. So nowadays when I have a melodic idea, usually the lyrics come second. Not always. When I'm really lucky, they come together. And that's usually I like to take bike rides. And if I'm out by myself, say like on a trail in the woods or something, and there's not a lot of distractions, that's when songs come to me, when I'm by myself, you know. But it's usually a melody first.
What is your favorite thing to write about?
These are tough ones. These are smart people questions. I think that I like to write about people. People's relationships with one another. I was thinking about that when I was playing my songs earlier. Some of them tell stories. I tend to write songs about conflict, you know, relationship troubles. I do write about, now that I'm, you know, not as young as I was, I write about aging and loss. There was a song I was going to play today. I chose not to do it because I've lost at least 3 people to COVID this year. And I wrote a song, there was a recent loss, not to COVID, but so I write about that, but I wasn't ready to do that on the show today. But so I try to confront the hard things too. But I write fun songs. I write silly songs also.
Silly songs are fun?
Yes, for sure.
So tell me a little bit about, number one, where the name came from, and a little bit about Pidgin English.
Sure, I'd be happy to. The funny thing about the name is that, so the other half of that duo is a guy called Brian Larney, who, by the way, can I put in a plug for his record?
Absolutely.
Brian just was chosen, the Hartford Courant chose the top 10 albums of Connecticut for 2020. And Brian's solo record, which is called Trabant, 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 was among the top 10. So I was very proud of my buddy. So he does solo stuff, I do solo stuff, but he and I go back a long, long time. And he and I we sort of fell out of touch for like 20 years or something. We used to sing harmonies when we were young. And then something came up a few years ago, an Elvis tribute. It was Elvis's birthday. And I asked him to come on stage with me down in New Haven and sing harmonies on Love Me Tender. Mm-hmm. And we just picked up where we left off when we were teenagers. And we really sing, we're just very, very much like brothers in a lot of ways, in our songwriting, our humor, and our harmonies. So we were texting back and forth, hey, maybe we ought to start writing together again. Because the first person I ever wrote with, when I chose to collaborate, was Brian, back when I was a teenager. So we're texting back and forth, and I said, hey, what about the... Anyway, he mistyped. He wanted to say, cool, and it just said coo, C-O-O. And I wrote back Pidgin English, and he's like, that's the name, that's it. And It was as simple as that, just a mistake. We like the goofiness of it. We love animals. And I think that the other thing I want to say, the literal definition in, if I can get fancy, in linguistics, Pidgin English is a language that is made up between 2 or more people that doesn't exist anywhere else.
I
and I'm like,
understand that.
that's it. That's the name. So our first album was called Coo, C-O-O,
Yep.
exclamation point. And I'm happy with it. It's a beautiful project.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, where can people find you?
Well, me or Pigeon English or just anything?
All of the above.
All right. So Pigeon English is on Spotify. I'm pretty sure we have a YouTube channel. Certainly we have a Facebook page. Our albums are out there on the major platforms. My music, Rob Nelson Music, there's a Facebook page, Rob Nelson Music. Also, if you could just go to my personal Facebook page, you'll find most of my music on Bandcamp.
Okay.
The stuff that you mentioned earlier that I did with Ann
Yep.
or Hugh or any of the other people I've collaborated with is all sitting there together on my Bandcamp page.
Nice. What makes you decide to do music with any particular musician?
It's a great question. A lot of times I'll go to a show. In the case of Ann, for example, I've known Ann.
Isn't she amazing?
She's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
truth be told,
I can't say enough about you.
I know, and I already told her this, so it's a little funny and maybe a little embarrassing, but I think I already told her this. So if she sees this later, I won't be too embarrassed now.
She'll see it.
All right, and here goes. So I had seen her over the years performing, and I was a little intimidated because she's really intense. You know, when she's up on stage,
Very intense.
she's very intense, and I was just like, whoa, right? But we got to chatting. We were on a bill together with a bunch of, it was like 20 performers one night. It was one of those things. It was a fundraiser for
Yep.
somebody. And I saw Ann perform. She knocked me out. She was great. And we got to chatting. Turned out she was, first of all, very approachable, not this intense, brooding individual, but, you know, just a very cool, thoughtful person with a beautiful voice. And then
Absolutely.
the thing that sealed it for me was I saw her in New London at one of the Hootenannies for Hygienic.
Yep.
And there are a lot of people there. I got to say, I'm not from New London. I'm not even from this part. You guys have the best scene going on here.
Yeah,
I
we
love
do.
it. It's so...
Started back in 1979.
Yeah, it's
we
still-
have the best
yeah,
music scene.
It's so
we do.
great. Everybody, like people, you know, it's beautiful. And you see that elsewhere, but like everybody I've gotten to know from here is so
There's
supportive.
nothing like New London
Nothing,
anywhere.
nothing.
Anywhere.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
drove, you know, whatever, 90 minutes one night to go to this show because I knew a bunch of people on the bill. And Ann was one of them. And I hadn't seen her sing. I had seen her do rock, you know, with her band. But this was more like a folk tune that she did. And I'm like, wow. So I was doing this project, which is still unfinished. I've taken poems by Emily Dickinson. I'm an English professor by day. That's my day job. So
I couldn't tell.
right,
I
right.
didn't know that.
I know it doesn't just right. Can't imagine.
It does.
Right. So I was listening to Ann, and I had this poem by Emily Dickinson. Now Ann loves birds. I don't know if you know that about her.
I know Ann pretty well.
Okay, right.
We're
and I was
almost
just like,
neighbors. We
there you
live
go.
about 3 blocks
Yeah,
from each other.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, there's a poem I have to match with Ann's voice. And I went home and I wrote the song. Like, first I wrote to her, or I think I texted her and said, you know, do you want to be on this Emily Dickinson record I'm making?
Uh-huh.
Sure, I would do that. Because she has played my music on her show. We've gotten to know each other a little bit. Anyway, I wrote this song, and I sent it to her. And just before lockdown, I mean, like a week before everything went nuts, we met at a studio in like West Haven, halfway between where she lives and where I live. It was freezing. There was nobody there. The guy let us in. And I'm like, let's see how it goes. Ann gets up to the mic. She has memorized my song. She's going to sing the hell out of it in like one take. I'm like, that's it. We're done here. You know, it was beautiful. So in the case of, you know, going back to your question, usually when I reach out to somebody and say, hey, want to work with me, it's because I admire that person. That person is cool, you know, as a human. That person's work is stellar. And it's always a little scary to reach out to somebody because what if they're like, you know what, I don't want to work with you. I don't know you. But I've been very lucky this year. I've had people, you know, the thing that I did with Hugh, of course Hugh was fantastic. You know, he was part of a different record.
You're not going to get me to disagree.
No.
He's one of my favorite humans in the world.
He's an amazing guy, and he was part. I'm doing another project based on Walt Whitman's poems, and Hugh knows poetry, of course.
He does.
You know, And so he read it like a champ, and I'm really proud of what we did together. I've been lucky. People say yes, mostly.
Probably because what you're bringing to the table is stellar, your word.
Yeah.
And you're asking musicians to have hearts that are as big as yours.
That's very kind. Thank you.
When you put big hearts like that together, it just becomes a big, huge heart project. And I think that you're very on point when you say that New London has the music scene. I will put New London music scene up against anywhere else in New England. In New England.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I don't bring bands in from other places other
Right.
than, obviously
Right.
you're not from New London,
Yeah.
but I will put the music scene anywhere in the world up against what we have here
Yeah.
in New London. And it's not about necessarily just the music. It's about the people.
Yes.
And how they work together and how they encourage each other. And that's been going on since the Reducers. Back in the day,
Right.
that's when it all started.
I think I've heard of them.
You think?
Maybe rings a bell.
So let's talk about some of what we've talked about Pidgin English, and we've talked about you and other musicians.
Yes.
Let's just talk about you. As an English teacher, what do you think brings the two things together, the music and the love of literature, the love of the spoken English language, which is different from any other language in the world?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. I
What
love
brings those things together for you?
Well, I could talk all day about that question. I'm so happy you asked me, because that's like my life's work, but I'll do it in like a minute. So I teach in Bridgeport. For most of my career, I've taught all over the place in Connecticut, some in New York, but most of my teaching has been focused on the colleges in Bridgeport. I teach at a community college down there. So a lot of the students that I'm servicing live pretty tough lives, you know. So when somebody, you know, like I'm smiling, but I had a guy once come in late to a midterm, a final, because it was May, and he had a tank top on, right? And he comes in, and he's like an hour late for a 2-hour test. I'm like, dude, you know, I don't know. And he's like, come out in the hall. I have an excuse. I'm like, this better be good. I go out, and he's got a bullet hole in his arm. Okay, I'm like, all right. You really want to sit down? Okay, you know. So here's my point. When you open a poetry book from 200 years ago, and you're asking somebody with a bullet hole in his arm to care about that,
Right.
you need to find linkage, right? So what I often discover really quickly is that a lot of students because I teach like people 18 to 30,
Right.
you know, way younger than I am. When I started, they were not that, you know, my age was close to them.
Yep.
They keep staying the same. I keep getting older. It's weird.
I understand.
Yeah. So I feel like my job is to say, look, you know, if, for example, you are somebody who likes hip hop, because it's, you know, very much, it's pretty universal in I would say people like 40 on down. It's funny, people my age I run into, because I love hip hop. I was there at the very beginning, and I find, you know, went to school in New Haven, but I find people my age who are like, I don't know, whatever. You know, it's not that hard for me to say, look, if you like beats, if you like rhythm, if you like spoken word poetry, slams, if you like rhyme, if you like, you know, and it goes on, and the variations are all over the place. Even people who, you know, who are like into bluegrass, I'm like, let's just listen to the rhythms of the instruments. Everything is about that universal, to me, that universal human expression. So that's my big answer.
That's a great answer. I just have to the whole rap scene, hip hop rap. I got very. I come from some very musical roots, and found punk rock very early in my musical career.
Yeah, good choice.
Well, yeah, but then along came rap, and it came right on the tail of punk. And I didn't like it,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to hear it, and
Right.
a lot of it was very negative.
Mm-hmm.
But I started, like you just said, I started listening to the rhythms, and what I've discovered is it's amazing poetry, and it's amazing storytelling,
Yeah.
and it's an incredible art form.
Yeah.
And what right do I have, punk rock
Yes.
queen,
Yeah.
to judge
Yeah.
how these people are
There you
expressing
go.
themselves? And Emily Dickinson is probably one of my least favorites
Really?
of
I thought you were
all
going to say
the
one of
pe-
my favorites. Okay.
no, one of my least favorites.
Oh, okay.
I love her work,
Right.
but I hate her work.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Tell me more so I can get it.
Her poetry is, what's the word I want? Macabre.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And-
it is
and
not
dark.
upbeat. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very
and
dark.
it fringes on I can't, all I can say is deadly.
Yeah.
She just gets so dark, and
Yeah.
I hate that,
You don't want to go there.
but I love that.
Okay. Now I get you.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to love somebody that can express themselves. And one of the things that I'm finding about you, because I didn't know you from Adam, I had listened to what you had sent me for music, but it's different to see you live. And I'm finding that you have an edge to you that is just on this side of upbeat. Right here. Right here,
That's
where
interesting.
people want to grab a
Yeah,
hold of it
yeah.
and they want more.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to find, as you connect more and more with our community, that your music is going to touch more and more people. And you're going to be asked more and more to join in things like our Hootenannies and our Pass the Guitar. I don't know how Hugh has missed having you at a Pass the Guitar.
No, he had me at one. I was at a veterans event at it was like or Memorial Day. I think it was either Veterans Day or Memorial Day. He did something at Hygienic
Okay.
years ago, like 2 years ago, and I didn't know him.
Okay.
That's where I think that's maybe where we met. Somebody else invited me or whatever. But I've been to there's like a youth expo that happens in New London. There've been a few things, and as I say, my kids are, for an old guy, I have very young kids, so I've dipped my toe in the water a little bit
Yep.
in New London. I have a different project. I just want to mention it real quick. I belong to a kind of a big world beat collective, like African pop music,
Okay.
called Elegant Primates. And our lead singer is a New London person. So it's just, I keep finding people. Like I connected with her like 3 years ago. And she was doing hip hop, she was doing R&B. And she can sing like nobody's business. And I was just like, oh, we need you in this project. So I just keep running across, there's a real diversity here. I mean,
You think?
man, yeah. And it's cool. And it's really organic. I like that.
It is.
Yeah.
And not only is it very organic and diverse, it's also very supportive. That's the bottom line for me,
Yeah.
is that as much diversity as there is, there's such a connectivity because of the supportiveness that we give to each other, the way that we support each other, the way that we, and I say we, it's really not me at
No,
all.
you're in the scene, right?
I'm in the scene only because my passion and my drive is to support and promote what you people are doing. You guys do something that I can't do. I can't write a song. I can't put into words, here it is, I can't put into words the feelings that I have in here.
I see. Yeah.
You guys put into words and music what I feel.
I see.
And you'll be singing and I'll go, oh yeah, that's it. That's what I feel. That's what singer-songwriters and musicians do for me,
Right.
which makes me want to tell the world what you do.
Right.
I want the world to know what Rob Nelson does with
Yeah.
words and music. So that's the only reason I'm part of the scene is
Yeah,
because,
but we're very grateful. Us folks on the other side.
well, thank
you
you,
know?
but it's not about me at all. It's about you guys. It's about your music. It's about music and the joy, laughter, and tears that music brings to not just our community, but society as a whole.
Right.
I don't think that we can live without music. And I think that we're seeing, with COVID-19, we're seeing music really going places and people stepping out of their comfort zone and doing things with music that they didn't do before because they have to.
That's it.
Because they absolutely have to. So here's the problem with doing wonderful interviews with amazing people. We run out of time.
Okay.
So what I would ask of you, if I could please, would you please take us out with a song?
Yeah, I can do that.
I would like that very much.
Yeah.
Make sure you untie yourself.
All right.
I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you
thank you,
so
Dot.
much for coming.
All right.
And bring Pidgin English back
Okay.
as soon as possible.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so while he's getting out, remember, wear your mask, socially distance, do what you need to do. Let's get rid of COVID-19 so we can get back to live music down on the pier, so that we can do some live stuff anywhere. I love you all very much. Happy holidays. Here's a blessing from me to you. May all your wishes and dreams come true. Until next week, you guys, have a really great and blessed week. Bye-bye.
Okay. One more song, eh? All right. 3 in the morning, I'm lying awake. I've had all the cold and alone I can't take. I can hear the kettle whistling unanswered down the hall, waiting for that moment when you call. I don't think I can hang on. I'm almost upside down. There's a layer of ice that keeps the two of us apart. Winter has covered our windows with frost. The heat we discovered appears to be lost. I can hear the people scraping off their cars out in the street, feeling frozen stiff and incomplete. I don't think I can hang on. I'm almost upside down. You've been painting the walls around me 7 shades of blue. I don't think I can hang on. I'm almost upside down. You've been burning my maps. Perhaps there's nothing left to do. Yeah. I don't think I can hang on, no. Afternoon gives itself up to the night. My neighbors retire and turn on their lights. I can see the people sharing time together by the fire. I'm upstairs alone with my desire. I don't think I can hang on. I'm almost upside down. You've been burning my maps. Perhaps there's nothing left to do. I don't think I can hang on. I'm almost upside down. You've been painting the walls around me 7 shades